Modern marriage isn't built on love. It's built on expiration dates no one talks about. She says she's exhausted and needs to sleep early. But her phone is still lighting up at 2 a.m., and the message isn't from you. This is the hidden fear men never want to admit. You give her your loyalty. You give her your money. You give her your time. You believe you're building something unbreakable. But the second you stop giving, the second your value slips even a little, she starts to drift, not with words, not with fights, quietly, slowly, until one day, you wake up and realize you've already been replaced. That's the brutal reality of modern relationships. What looks like love is often just a transaction. What sounds like loyalty is often just convenience. And the smile you think is yours, it might be a mask, hiding the truth she'll never confess out loud. Most men refuse to see it. They think being honest, loyal, and kind will guarantee them respect. They think persistence will one day earn them love. But in today's world, attention is currency, and men spend it like it's worthless. Meanwhile, women know exactly how to collect it quietly, strategically, without risk. This isn't just about cheating. It's about the silent psychology running underneath every "I love you," the patterns, the instincts, the hidden game where one mistake can turn you from her hero into her villain. And tonight, we're pulling back the curtain. If you're brave enough to hear the truths most men can't handle, stay until the end. Because once you see it, you'll never look at her the same way again. She's laughing at your joke, holding your hand across the table. But in her mind, she's already somewhere else. That's how it begins. Not with a fight, not with screaming, not even with words. It begins with silence, with a distance so subtle you almost convince yourself it's not there. And by the time you notice, it's already too late. This is the cruel design of modern love. Women don't leave in explosions. They leave in erosion. One missed call, one late reply, one smile that feels just a little different. You brush it off. Tell yourself she's just tired, just distracted. But to her, those tiny moments aren't accidents. They're signals. Because while you're still giving her your love, she's already weighing whether to stay or to start looking elsewhere. Back in the past, relationships were heavy with duty. If things broke, people tried to fix them. If promises were made, they were carried like burdens, even when they hurt. Divorce was shameful. Walking away was costly, and forever meant something. But today, the exit door is always open. One swipe, one DM, one half-hearted hey from someone new is enough to shift her attention. And here's the brutal part she doesn't need to tell you. She doesn't need to announce it. She just changes the way she looks at you, the way her tone drops, the way her touch fades, and you feel the distance long before you understand it. And here's the truth, no man wants to hear women are trained to hide this. Since they were young, they've been taught not to reveal too much, never show weakness, never expose the full truth. That's why her silence is her shield, her smile is her weapon, and her distance is her decision. She doesn't need to fight with you. She just needs to drift. And by the time you notice, the choice has already been made. Think about the signs, the goodnight text that comes later and later. The weekends she used to keep open that now seem always busy. The way she keeps her phone face down on the table, laughing when she types, but never sharing what's so funny. You tell yourself it's nothing, but deep down, you feel it. The unraveling has already begun. You believe you're building something real with your loyalty, your time, your effort. But to her, those things aren't proof of love. They're the basics, the bare minimum, the entry fee to even stay in the game. And the second you slip even for a moment, the balance shifts. Maybe you're stressed. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you forget to notice her mood. To you, it feels small. To her, it becomes everything. That's when the process begins. Quiet, invisible, a slow unraveling of everything you thought was unbreakable. By the time you finally feel the gap, she's already on the other side of it. And the most devastating part, you'll look back and realize she was leaving long before she ever walked away. You'll replay the late replies, the sudden distance, the cold laughs. You'll remember all the moments you told yourself, "It's nothing." And you'll know the truth. It was never nothing. It was the start of the end. This isn't betrayal in one night. It's not chaos that comes crashing down. It's erosion, piece by piece, until all that's left is a shadow of what you thought you had. And if you think this can't happen to you, if you think your love is strong enough to be immune, then you're already in danger. Because the men who fall hardest are always the ones who thought they were safe. A man gives because he thinks it will buy him love, but too often, it buys him nothing but quiet exploitation. That's the trap. You believe you're chosen for your heart, your loyalty, your honesty. In reality, you're being measured for something else. Your usefulness. Being needed and being loved are not the same. Most men never learn this difference until it's too late. They pour in time, effort, and devotion, convinced it will secure them affection. But love today doesn't run on devotion. It runs on value. And the value she sees in you is not your heart. It's the attention you bleed into her life. Attention has become the new currency of modern relationships. A glance, a compliment, a text that comes too quickly. Every second you spend focused on her feeds her sense of worth. Not because she loves you for it, but because it proves she still holds power in the silent marketplace of desire. And the more freely you give it, the cheaper it becomes. She doesn't need to want you. She only needs to want what you give. Your time, your energy, your validation. That alone is power for her power, without cost, without risk, without accountability. And as long as you keep handing it over, she has no reason to give anything back. Here's the cruel twist: you think you're proving love, but what you're really proving is that you don't know your own value. You treat attention like it's infinite, and in her eyes, that makes it worthless. Meanwhile, she doesn't even need to try. One photo, one story, one post, and she collects more attention in a single day than you've given her in weeks. Every like, every DM, every lingering gaze is another drop of validation, free, abundant, endless. And what's abundant is never treasured. This is why so many men feel invisible. They give and give, hoping for love. But what they really create is a woman addicted to the drug of attention. Not addicted to him, addicted to what he provides. And when that supply weakens, she doesn't fight for him. She looks for her next dealer. So understand this: she never fell in love with the man. She fell in love with the reflection of herself in his eyes, with the steady stream of validation he kept spilling into her hands. And when that flow runs dry, so does her loyalty. Men are told to open up, to share their feelings, to show their softer side. Society repeats the same advice. Women want honesty. Women want vulnerability. Women want you to be real. So a man listens. He takes off his armor. He speaks about his fears. He confesses his doubts. He bleeds his soul out, hoping she will hold him tighter. At first, she listens. She nods. She even says she understands. But something shifts in the silence that follows. The admiration fades. The attraction weakens. What once felt solid begins to feel fragile. Not because she hates him, not because she's cruel, but because deep inside, her instincts whisper a different truth. Biology has no mercy. A woman might say she values openness, but her nature responds to strength, not surrender. Security, not collapse. A man who breaks down in her arms doesn't awaken her love. He awakens her doubt. She begins to wonder if he can carry the weight of life when he cannot even carry his own. This is the paradox. Hide your pain, and she calls you distant. Reveal your pain, and she feels you're weak. Most men lose either way because they don't understand the silent code. True strength doesn't scream. It doesn't beg for sympathy. It shows itself through control, through calm, through the discipline to master yourself, even when the storm is raging inside. When a man speaks less, not out of fear, but out of command over himself, he becomes what she respects: steady, composed, unshaken. She may ask for your full honesty, but what she truly respects is your restraint. And here is where most men fall apart. They think love is about full exposure, about letting someone see every wound, every scar, every weakness. But attraction isn't built that way. The more he bleeds, the less she sees him as a pillar. The more he leans, the more she wonders if she's the one carrying him. The tragedy is that men think they're doing the right thing. They believe they're giving what she asked for. But desire doesn't listen to words. Desire listens to instinct, and instinct does not reward weakness. This is why so many relationships collapse in silence. The man thinks he's opening his heart. The woman feels her safety cracking, and what she once admired in him, the calm, the confidence, the strength, slowly disappears. The raw truth is this: women don't fall for men who crumble. They fall for men who bend without breaking, for strength disguised in silence. Most men live under an illusion. They believe they are the hunters. They think they are the ones making the choice. I saw her. I walked up. I decided to pursue her. That's what they tell themselves. But the truth is far darker. A woman never waits for you to choose. Long before you approach, she's already sent the signal. A glance that lingers, a smile timed perfectly, a movement that feels accidental but isn't. You think you're leading. In reality, you're just reacting. This is the secret most men never understand. You were invited into the game without even knowing it. By the time you make a decision, the decision was already made for you. She flipped the switch. She wrote the script. You're just following the lines. Schopenhauer understood this. Desire doesn't come from logic. It comes from instinct. A man's attraction is reactive, fast, and blind. Before reason can interfere, the body has already decided. That's why men mistake fate for chemistry. They think it's magic. They think it's destiny. But it isn't. It's design. And the cruel irony: the deeper you fall, the more convinced you become that you're in control. You tell yourself you're choosing her, winning her, leading her. But she's been guiding the steps from the very beginning. All she has to do is offer the right cues. You do the rest. This isn't trickery in the way most men imagine. It's older, it's simpler, and it's infinitely more powerful. A woman doesn't chase. She positions herself. She creates the moment. Then she lets you believe it was your choice all along. And until a man wakes up to this truth, he will keep playing a role in a story he never authored. He will call it love. He will call it destiny. But really, he's just reacting to signals nature designed long before he ever saw her face. Here's the question you need to ask yourself if the game was already written before you played it. How do you take back control? How do you stop being a pawn in a story you didn't create? Drop your answer in the comments. Because the way you see it may open the eyes of thousands of other men watching this right now. In today's world, attention has become the real marketplace, and women are the sharpest collectors. It doesn't take much. A glance, a smile, a single post, and suddenly, she is surrounded by validation. Hundreds of likes, dozens of DMs, strangers lining up in her notifications like bidders at an auction. She doesn't have to chase it. She doesn't even have to ask. All she has to do is exist. That is her power without effort, without risk, without cost. Meanwhile, men are trained to give endlessly. Compliment her, chase her, prove yourself. From childhood, boys are told the same lie: effort equals love. If you keep giving, one day she will choose you. But that's not how the game works. The more freely you give your attention, the cheaper it becomes. What is abundant is never valued. A man who comments on every photo, who replies instantly, who drowns her in validation, thinks he is proving his worth. In reality, he is lowering it. His attention becomes spare change collected, counted, stored, but never cherished. And here lies the paradox: the man who guards his attention, who spends it carefully, who values it like gold, he becomes rare. And what is rare always commands respect. That's why the man who doesn't chase every smile, who doesn't give his focus away for free, who knows his attention is worth something, stands apart. That man forces her to notice. But most men never see this. They confuse generosity with weakness. They confuse being needed with being loved. And by the time they wake up, they've already been drained of time, of energy, of self-respect. Understand this: a woman doesn't always need you. She only needs what you give. Your attention is her fuel. Your focus is her validation. As long as you keep handing it out without limits, she will keep collecting, without ever needing to return it. That is the economy of desire today. Men supply, women collect. And only the man who learns to guard his currency can escape the trap. So let me ask you, are you spending your attention like it's priceless, or wasting it like it's free? Drop your answer in the comments, because your honesty here may wake up another man who is still blind to the game. In nature, weakness usually means defeat. The weaker animal gets eaten. The weaker tree is torn down by the storm. But in human relationships, weakness can transform into a weapon. And no one wields that weapon more effectively than women. A trembling voice, tears falling at the perfect time, a soft look that whispers, "I need you." These don't look like weapons at all, but they can cut deeper than a blade. They can disarm a man faster than fists or anger ever could. From the time he's young, a man is told to be strong. Don't cry, don't complain, carry the weight in silence. So when he sees a woman appear fragile, it pierces straight through his armor. It awakens a primal instinct not to fight, but to protect. And the moment that instinct rises, his guard falls. He thinks she is weak. He believes she needs saving. But in truth, that softness is not weakness. It is leverage. And it quietly shifts the power in her favor. Here's the irony: she never takes the blame. When a man raises his voice, he's called aggressive. When she cries, she's called sincere. His anger is judged dangerous. Her tears are seen as holy. Her pain makes her faults invisible. And in the courtroom of emotions, she almost always wins. This isn't luck. It isn't coincidence. It's a form of strength that doesn't look like strength. influence that flows quietly beneath the surface. Men search for power in dominance, in control, in force. But her influence lives in silence, in vulnerability, in moments where she bends reality without even lifting her hand. And the most dangerous part, she often doesn't even know she's doing it. It's instinct. It's survival. It's the design of a world where weakness itself can rule over strength. That's why so many men feel trapped. They fight battles they cannot win, because the rules of the game were never written for them. In modern love, power doesn't always roar. Sometimes it cries. Sometimes it trembles. Sometimes it whispers. And in that whisper, entire relationships shift. So let me ask you, have you ever lost an argument? Not because you were wrong, but because of a single tear. Drop your story in the comments. Your experience might open another man's eyes tonight. Once upon a time, love was built on loyalty, sacrifice, and honor. You made a promise, and you kept it, even when it was heavy. But modern love has shifted into something colder, sharper, and far more dangerous. It's no longer about who feels the deepest. It's about who hides the best, who plays the game smarter. Today, relationships are less about truth and more about masks. People don't reveal who they are until they've tested you, until they've measured what you bring, until they've decided whether you're worth the gamble. Love has become a calculation. Trust has become a weapon. And the one who conceals best always walks away with the upper hand. Think about it. How many couples do you see smiling in public, yet you can feel the emptiness behind their eyes? How many captions scream, "I'm fine," while the heart behind them is quietly breaking? The mask is everywhere now. It's the new shield. And the cruelest part, the mask often lasts longer than the love itself. Because here's the truth, the battlefield of modern relationships isn't money, status, or beauty anymore. It's emotional intelligence. The person who knows exactly when to stay silent, when to cry, when to smile coldly, that person becomes untouchable. Vulnerability today isn't about honesty. It's about timing. It's about strategy. But the mask has a cost. The longer it stays on, the more it eats away at what's real. The wider the gap grows between appearance and truth. And when that gap becomes too wide, the relationship collapses not from betrayal, but from exhaustion. That's why so many couples lie in the same bed, but feel galaxies apart. They talk every day, but nothing is ever said. They laugh together, but their eyes quietly scream for help. Here's the tragedy in this new game. Winning doesn't mean loving more. It means hiding more. The one who conceals longest wins. And yet, the deeper we hide, the less we're ever truly seen. So ask yourself this: are you in love with the person in front of you? Or are you in love with the mask they wear? And even more painful, are they in love with you? Or just the mask you've been forced to put on? Drop your answer below. Because if you can't even face it here, you'll never face it in your own life. The hardest truth about love today is this: distance isn't measured in miles. It's measured in silence. Two people can sleep in the same bed, eat at the same table, smile for the same photos, and still live in different worlds. They talk every day, but nothing real is spoken. They laugh together, but the laughter only hides exhaustion, fear, and loneliness. A woman doesn't leave in a single night. She leaves in fragments, in the slower replies, in the lighter touch, in the way her eyes start drifting even while she sits beside you. By the time you notice, the unraveling is already complete. And the cruelest part, you'll look back and realize the signs were always there, you just didn't want to see them. So maybe the question isn't, how do we understand women? Maybe the real question is, are we even paying attention? Do you hear the words she never says? Do you recognize when her anger is just fear in disguise? Do you notice the sadness buried inside her smile? If not, you're not really with her. You're just existing beside her. Because a relationship isn't two bodies sharing space. It's two worlds colliding, trying not to destroy each other in the impact. And if all you want is to win, then prepare yourself to lose. Because love isn't a war. Love is a balance, a fragile balance that only survives when both people are brave enough to face the truth without masks. Now, ask yourself this: if you had the knowledge to see behind the mask, would you even use it? If you could read the hidden code, the quiet psychology, the silent patterns, would you change the way you love? Or would you keep pretending everything is fine? Drop your answer in the comments. Don't just watch, participate. Because your words here won't just make you think. They'll make thousands of others confront the truths they've been running from. And remember, the strongest way to win a woman is to never try to defeat her. Because the moment love becomes a battle, both sides are already broken.